Well, then I will go on to my deep dive on my
Yes.
second myth that I wanted to talk about, which was
Good.
this question of whether or not raw cow's milk increases testosterone in the human body. And in doing this deep dive, I wanted to look at the history of where this concept, this myth was born. And I remember growing up and being a young athlete. I was playing basketball, I was running track, cross country, and even being lactose intolerant as a young man, as I mentioned, it was this pressure to have dairy and animal products to improve performance. Right, that was always the thing: is that you got to drink milk, strong bones, better performance, blah blah blah. Well, I wondered where sort of that mythology maybe got started, and in terms of testosterone or bodybuilding or performance, it went back to the 1960s, where there were two American bodybuilding coaches named Vince Garanda and Rio Blair. And they started promoting raw milk to their bodybuilding clients. And this was before the heyday of Schwarzenegger and the golden age of American bodybuilding. So they were ahead of their time with this. But their whole position on this was that it was the most, quote, anabolic and pure substance for men seeking to build muscle and strength in equal measure. So they started pushing raw milk, raw cream, so many things to sort of emphasize this hyper masculine activity, right? It was this phenomenon of like, we're going to push raw dairy so that men can be more masculine and have this embodied form of gender identity of muscular virility and demonstrate determination and ambition and strength. So they started pushing this on there, to kind of push this like masculine strong agenda. But the interesting thing, if we go into again looking at a deep dive of what cow's milk actually does to human hormone levels, we know that in terms of endogenous estrogen, cow's milk is far, far higher than something like soy milk. And we know that the mythology that's been out there, at least for the, gosh, I don't know, 20 years maybe, you both might correct me on this, was that you want to avoid soy milk because it'll feminize you as a man. It'll give you gynecomastia and it'll do all these different things. So this mythology around milk building testosterone in the body is looking at things like cholesterol. There is some evidence out there that cholesterol can influence testosterone in the human body. However, it is not endemic to milk itself. Like it's not the raw milk, it's the cholesterol increasing the testosterone that's in the raw milk.
Mm.
So the interesting thing is we look at, again, estrogen causing all kinds of health issues like gynecomastia. There can be some issues related to sexual performance and ED. So it's fascinating to me to see, even now to this day, that this idea of masculinity is tied to your testosterone levels and how virile you are. And to me, if we go through sort of like the downsides of raw milk, since we're specifically talking about raw milk and testosterone, the concern is that, again, unpasteurized milk has bacteria. It has some things that can actually create some very scary health issues in people. So I don't think that raw milk is a really solid choice, not only because it has no proof that it increases testosterone, except for the cholesterol that we isolated, but it can expose you to things like E. coli, right? Which can get people really, really sick. So raw milk is kind of a scary choice. And for me, I'm just going to use this anecdotally. I go every 2 years and get my blood panels done. This year I went and got my testosterone levels tested. And I haven't had dairy my entire life, as you know. And the doctor looked at me and he said, your testosterone levels are like a 25-year-old man. What are you doing? And I said,
Oh,
I've,
this.
I've been vegan for 26 years. Like I don't, he's like, well, keep doing it. And I told him I have multiple servings of soy every week, and his mind was kind of blown. So I think we're turning this on its head of dairy products are not going to, they're not going to pump you up in the gym. They're not the best choice. So for me, if I look at things that are going to increase testosterone in the body, I can look at things like Chinese herbs. There's a Chinese herb out there called cistanche that's been shown to increase testosterone. There's a whole bunch of other methodologies. And I think just stay away from the raw milk. It's too scary of a choice.
I always think too, like when with this craze of wanting more testosterone and seeking it out and thinking that you need more, and so many men not even getting it tested like you did intelligently, just like, I'm down here in Mexico, and you can just go in any clinic and get a testosterone shot, 250, 50, whatever you want. It's kind of crazy. uh and to seek it out through raw milk is okay, but the thought that comes to mind is like, it's a lactating mother, so you're going to be getting testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen, and quite a lot of estrogen, because nobody's filtering out the estrogen and progesterone just to get the testosterone from the raw milk. So it doesn't make sense to me. We know that how estrogen and progesterone interact with the pituitary gland for sure, and a hypothalamus gland, and suppressing the release of GnRH. This leads to decreased levels of a couple of different hormones, specifically that stimulate the follicles, the hormone follicles, and they're necessary for testosterone production in the testes and the adrenal glands. Like, you have to have that. So in biological males, you have the testes are a primary source of testosterone, so you're making it yourself. But by reducing this LH, estrogen and progesterone are lowering testosterone in your body. And so you're taking in more estrogen and progesterone. It sounds to me like it's either just they just wipe each other away, or potentially you're getting more estrogen and progesterone than you thought you were getting, and it's canceling out the testosterone that you're drinking the raw milk for.
Well said.
It just
I would
doesn't.
say
Yeah.
any milk, whether raw or not, is not good
Right.
for testosterone levels. And anyone who wants to just, if I think most men care about their testosterone levels, not because of the levels per se, but because they want to perform in the bedroom and have a hard penis. So
Yeah.
if you go back to hear Dr. Aaron Spitz on our show, he talks a lot about how animal foods are bad for your penis because they will block your arteries with that famous cholesterol, Jason, that you're talking about, and cause erectile dysfunction. So even though a product might have a lot of protein, for example, or something that helps testosterone, there are other things in milk that hurt you more, is what I think, Dotsie, you're saying. And we have to always look at that, because we can't reduce a food to one action. It has pros and cons, and you need to look at the whole food and all the reactions that it causes in the body.
Yeah, that's very well said.